Logan Paul's podcast is called Impaulsive. Get it? Today we're going to be talking about Logan Paul's second public airing on the Coffeezilla affair during an Impaulsive, get it, podcast. A few days ago on January the 3rd, Logan Paul published a standalone YouTube video, which he'd previously said would be his response to Coffeezilla's three-part investigation video series on Cryptozoo. Coffeezilla had taken a year to put this together and was able to conclude that Cryptozoo was nothing more simple than a scam. In the 7-minute response video that Paul presented, unfortunately for him anyway, there was nothing of substance presented that countered the hard facts that Coffeezilla had brought up in his series. Instead, he attacked Coffeezilla directly, essentially saying that Coffeezilla had only put the video together to attack Paul and for clicks and revenues. He also made the accusation that the Coffeezilla channel had become a gossip channel. Paul has since released his podcast Impaulsive, where he talks extensively about the whole Cryptozoo affair. Now, the impact of Logan's 7-minute video encountering accusations about him was poor at best and has almost certainly made Paul look like a guilty person trying to plaster the blame. Particularly pathetic was his legal threats to Coffeezilla. "See you in court" was his sign-off to the video. It's a fair guess that Paul has seen opinions on this 7-minute video on his own YouTube comment section, and they've not been very good. He came across as a bully and a hypocrite in the comments that were being made. One of his arguments was farcical. When talking about the people who ran Cryptozoo originally, before millions were siphoned away in a rug pull, Logan was smug enough to say that Coffeezilla hadn't obviously done enough research, as he hadn't identified that one of the ringleaders, a developer that was under investigation, had a criminal history, and Paul then went on to show the developer's criminal history. So the fact that Logan Paul has hired criminals somehow demonstrates his innocence in the Cryptozoo scam is self-evidently a mad and delusional argument. You can see it happening in court, can't you? "It isn't me, Judge, it was the criminals I employed that did it." Yeah, right on, Paul. So to the podcast. This is an hour and a half long, and I promise you I'm not going to subject you to anything near that length. I'll go through it and we'll try to find out where he tries to rubbish the accusations against him. Spoiler alert, he doesn't.
Let me give some context to this situation. Cryptozoo is a blockchain project that I created about a year and a half ago. And the question everyone's going to be asking is, why now?
He doesn't actually come close to addressing Coffeezilla's claims directly. As we go through it, you might get a sense of my skepticism about the whole thing.
So again, this YouTuber named Coffeezilla released a 3-part series. He spent a year making it, and I'll be honest, it was very good.
So here we go. The first part is quite a long, tedious part where Logan is reading out from messages between him and Coffeezilla about who invites whom to where and on what occasion. Some of the messages between them were actually sent in public on the likes of Twitter, etc.
If you put my name in the title and you label it Logan Paul scam, you're going to get more views. The problem with it is that is not true. And I've made tweets here and there stating my case, but I'm going to give some context with the back and forth that I've had with Coffeezilla. So here are some receipts. Again, just for context. His name's Steven. The first time he reached out to me was on Christmas Eve after he released his series. He sent a misleading email as highlighted in my statement. He invited me on his show to come talk about Cryptozoo. I chose not to do that because it is now clear to me that he's milking this.
So Paul's trying to make out he'd always been happy for a meeting, and it was just Coffeezilla making things like Logan didn't want an interview, and perhaps to make it seem like he had something to hide. Well, Logan Paul, we've already seen the messages on Coffeezilla's channel. You blocked him about a year ago, and then suddenly, when the 3 videos are published, you want to arrange meetings all over the place. Paul, it's too transparently obvious that you essentially didn't want to answer his questions over the past year and are really only addressing things now because the public furore has grown so much. Again, anyway, to me this doesn't address anything about the scam. It's just a side issue, and infantile at that. Children in the playground saying, "I said it first, no you didn't, yes I did, blah blah blah." Oh, and in case you don't get it, as I've clipped the video to a manageable size for comments, the idea is that these lackeys sitting in the studio with him are asking the so-called key questions, and it'll be like a proper interview for everybody. In other words, "Here Mike, throw me another softball question." And talking of softball questions, here's a good one.
Here was my response. I sent him an email. after I posted my statement. Hey, Steven, just wanted to put my response to your scam allegations on your radar, linked below. Even though you broke laws, hardly substantiated your evidence, fabricated dangerously misleading falsehoods, and wrongfully accused me of scamming my fans, I'd still love to host you on Impaulsive, again, unmonetized. It can even be one-on-one. Sorry, boys. I'm interested in talking about your workflow, creative process, and of course, Cryptozoo. I did get your email 2 days ago after I called out your failure to respond on Twitter regarding the live stream invitation, and you said, I asked you for comment multiple times over the course of a year. You refused. Any proof of that, or is this another lie? I searched my emails and didn't see any outreach from you until Christmas Eve 2022. You scrubbed the blockchain for a living and somehow managed to text my personal phone number yesterday. I can't imagine you didn't know/have my professional email. I do agree people deserve to hear from both of us, but truthfully, now that your motives are clear, I don't feel like feeding into your hunger for clout on your platforms. You've profited off of and gained plenty from me. I've said everything I've needed to say. The rest will be handled legally and on Impaulsive with or without you while we continue to build Cryptozoo. The holidays are over, so I look forward to hearing back in a timely fashion this time. My January schedule is packed. Best, Logs.
Why did you sign off as Logs, by the way? There was a lot of shit for that.
I saw that.
Maybe,
I think it's easy to pick apart anything I do.
And people are, for sure. It's been happening the entire time.
That's my sign off. I've been signing off like that since high school.
Why do you sign off Logs? Good grief. How on earth will Logs deal with that cutting-edge, decisive question? Anyway, if you did want the answer is because it's my name.
So let's right off the bat, as early as possible here, talk about the two definitions and the two things that are at play. One of them being a scam, the other one being defamation, which can be libel or slander. So if someone scams a person or an organization, they deceive them in order to get something valuable for them, especially money. That is the definition of scam. So my first question, and this question was answered in his series, it was a 5-second blip that was a part of a probably hour-long of documentary, filmmaking, was how much money did you make off the sale of the coin or off Cryptozoo as a project? How much money did you make?
Yeah, this seems to be the biggest misconception, and it is disappointing that part was glossed over.
No, it wasn't. It was extremely clear. And I think the way Coffeezilla presented it was to emphasize who didn't sell and make a profit.
So quickly. Made no money off Cryptozoo. Never sold the token. Jeff never sold the token.
Jeff never sold a token, agreed?
Only lost money trying to make things right, along with everyone else in the project.
Hold on, make things right. Let's have some evidence for that. What money did you use to try and make things right? What did they spend it on? What was the outcome? Did you reimburse anybody for their losses? No answers to those questions. I think this is just an empty statement.
Only lost money trying to make things right, along with everyone else in the project.
Hold on, Logs. Everyone else in the project? I think you meant to say, except for the two criminals I employed, the ones who disappeared along with $7.7 million.
No money was made by Jeff or I.
And just back to the flip side really quick. To me, once I heard that seemed just like a kill shot to this entire thing.
Hold on. No, it doesn't. Logan and Jeff didn't sell any tokens, so therefore there is not a scam. That sentence just doesn't even stand up to the slightest scrutiny. Bad point.
I empathize. I totally see why people are frustrated. I'm fucking frustrated. I've been frustrated for over a year.
Oh, you've been frustrated for over a year? Well, show me the logs exactly and precisely what you've been doing or trying to do to get customers their money back and how you've been frustrated with the things you wanted to do. Where's the plan? There is nothing, is there?
So I'll let you keep going. And again, while we made no money on the project, which I think kills the scam narrative immediately, there is more explaining to do.
What was your intent with Cryptozoo as a project?
I really thought it was going to be the next big thing. It was my first foray into creating a project on the blockchain. My intent was to make the next Pokemon, essentially, on the blockchain. It was purely good.
So let's think. It's his project. It's the next big thing. He's creating a project on the blockchain. It's going to be the next Pokemon. Again, this is so high level and nebulous that if I think I asked him to explain what having a project on the blockchain is actually entailed, he wouldn't have a clue. Because there's only one blockchain, the blockchain, of course, duh. I'll rephrase that for him. I want loads of money as fast as possible, and this scam might just have made it work.
And this was another part of Cryptozoo that got ripped apart. People seem to really discount the art, which I felt truthfully wasn't fair.
Sorry, Logan, I've got to tell you, your appreciation of art is sadly lacking. These have no artistic merit at all. I can imagine one of the developers' 8-year-olds being asked to Photoshop this over a weekend for a bit of diversion, and good grief, the discussion of the artistic merits of these anodyne hybrids goes on and on and on. I'll save you the bother. What is really forgotten is that the whole point was not the artistic merit of the tokens, it was that you promised they were handmade, and they were not. You are lying. Address the real points.
Great question.
Very good question.
The answer is fucking heartbreaking, George. I'll get emotional even speaking about it just now, right now, but this is what broke me. People relied on me to create a project, and when shit wasn't working out and I found out the extent of just how bad things were behind the scenes, I had to rely on my team. I crumbled internally, and the advice was, while actual legal process was going on because of criminal investigation taking place that Coffeezilla highlighted in his series, I had to stay silent. And for a fucking year.
So he was asked here what he would say to somebody who'd lost their money and was looking for their hero Logan Paul to say something, to be on their side, etc. But they say it wasn't until Coffeezilla publishes damaging articles that he then talks. So why now?
I'm hounding Jeff. How do we make this right? What's the status of the game?
But they
Where
don't
are
see
we
that.
at?
They don't see that. That's crazy.
The engineer stole the code, who was hired by a fucking con man, a guy that I found out to be a con man, a guy that I had trusted, not just a guy that I had trusted, a guy that billionaires had trusted, a guy that fooled the Mormon Church and the New York Yankees. And now in hindsight, 1 + 1 = fucking 2. I get that. And the advisor, again, that I trusted, was selling against my buyers, people that actually wanted to play this game. It was like a mountain. It was like a mountain that collapsed one after the other. This massive forest fire would come up. I thought we put it out, and then something else would happen, and something else would happen, and then my legal team goes, "Yo, there is criminal investigation going on. It is best to stay silent at this moment."
Mm.
And this is just maddening. Is it just one huge mind-blowing coincidence then that your lawyers rang you up and said, now you can talk, the day after Coffeezilla publishes his report? So go on then, tell us what monumental development in this whole case made them take back their order. Where's the evidence? I tell you what, Logan, I don't believe half the things you say. Total S-wash. It's actually insulting that you're expecting me to believe that because you can put on a faux passion. So he spent a year asking someone else to do stuff, yeah? Well, I can tell you in 5 minutes that Logan could make this right. Do not underestimate his wealth. He's an extremely wealthy person. 7.7 million is really an incidental amount of money to him. He really is that rich. He could give 7.7 million to the investors back tomorrow. It wouldn't hurt him in the least, but he won't. He assembled a bunch of crooks to take money off people who he's persuaded to give to the crooks because of their real belief in this person, Logan Paul, and he turns his back on them? Pathetic. Oh, and having watched the whole of the podcast, and I strongly advise you for your sanity not to do the same, the people sitting around are sycophants. The way they're looking up and listening to Logan Paul, when he speaks, he interrupts them and they stop speaking. It all looks like a friendly review chat at face value, but when you actually watch, they're in huge deference to Logan Paul. Perhaps fear, but definitely deference. And I'm picking up also that they're extremely cautious with their words. No one is going to challenge Paul on anything seriously, and I'm really not picking up a great team dynamic there.
Where Coffee fucked up is by targeting me as some malicious, evil supervillain. If he had told this story objectively and told the story without vilifying me, regardless, that's what I would do if I were him. I'd milk the shit out of this. And like I said, he's probably going to. He's good. He's very good. But part 6 is the more he says and the more he continues to spread this misinformation that this was any sort of con or scam, the more I have for the lawsuit that I am filing.
Logan talked a little bit about the lawsuit, just essentially saying, you know, if he keeps saying these nasty things about me, I'm going to go to court and sue him for defamation. Well, Logan Paul is going to have an extremely hard time proving defamation. Malice will need to be proven by Logan Paul, even if he can show that Coffeezilla actually made a slanderous statement, knowing that it was false or having reckless disregard as to whether it was true or false. In the Zilla episodes, I can't see him making any of it up just because he wanted to slander Logan Paul. He was very careful, for example, to explain that Logan Paul didn't sell his tickets, like some of the crooks running the scam. There was a very brief mention about the illegal recording of Logan Paul's manager, and he mentioned that in the 7-minute video as well. Well, Logan Paul wasn't even the one who's recorded, so how can he actually go to court to sue for it? He just can't, so that doesn't make sense anyway. I did find out that the law on illegal recording where consent is not obtained from the other party is usually a misdemeanor finding at most.
The defamation lawsuit, that is fucking happening because this is wrong. This is fucking wrong. And there's a reason. There's a reason he won't come on this show. And he knows it's because he can't lie to me with his chest out while sitting in front of me.
There's lots of very big, powerful talk here, Logan Paul, but please, when are you going to give us the evidence for the facts that you think are wrong? Sorry folks, spoiler alert, he didn't. Perhaps he's saving those for another video.
But now I'm in a place where I actually do have to thank him for shining light on this. He just messed up by pointing the finger 100% at me and saying that there was any sort of fraud or scam taking place intentionally. Not even taking place intentionally, just taking place on my behalf.
Why did you block him on Twitter?
It's like a little gnat. It's like a little fucking annoying gnat, and it bothers me. He won. He got to me, bro. He's the most formidable opponent I've had. I'm not kidding. The guy's good. He's
very smart.
He's very smart. He manipulates and twists the truth just the way he wants to get his people to believe a certain thing. He's good.
There's no sorry element to this discussion. Logan Paul's focus was on Coffeezilla and himself. Logan Paul is doing himself no favours at all by making these sorts of public announcements. Where are his concerns for his fans who've lost out on his recommendations on a crypto coin, now for the second time? I'm really coming to the conclusion that Logan Paul has conflated Coffeezilla's investigation into Cryptozoo into an investigation into himself personally. He's not able to distinguish between the two, to my mind. Clearly, he may be culpable of elements of the scam, and he's still going to have to be held accountable for that in due course. And he's not going to do himself any favours in any court action with his current head in the sand mentality. And I guess my feelings on this whole matter are fairly clear. It's maddening. If you've liked the content, if you hit the subscribe button, then I'm going to appreciate that a lot. And just for a roundup, there's a few comments here from the people who were watching the whole of the video, which caught my eye. Bye for now.